cat.Smilodon, ʻsmaɪlədʒn, is an extinct genus of machairodont felid. It is perhaps one of the most famous prehistoric mammals, and the best-known saber-toothed cat. Although commonly known as the saber-toothed tiger, it was not closely related to the tiger or other modern cats. ʻSmaɪlədʒn lived in the Americas during the Pleistocene epoch. The genus was named in 1842, based on fossils from Brazil. 3 species are recognized today: S. gracilis, S. fatalis and S. populata. The 2 latter species were probably descended from S. gracilis, which itself probably evolved from Megantereon. The largest collection of ʻSmaɪlodon fossils has been obtained from the Rancho La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, California. Overall, ʻSmaɪlodon was more robustly built than any extant cat, with particularly well-developed forelimbs and exceptionally long upper canines. Its jaw had a bigger gape than that of modern cats, and its upper canines were slender and fragile, being adapted for precision killing. S. gracilis was the smallest species at 55 to 100 kilograms in weight. S. fatalis had a weight of 160 to 280 kilograms and height of 100 centimeters. Both of these species are mainly known from North America, but remains from South America have also been attributed to them. S. populata from South America is perhaps the largest known felid at 220 to 400 kilograms in weight and 120 centimeters in height. The coat pattern of ʻSmaɪlodon is unknown, but it has been artistically restored with plainer spotted patterns. In North America, ʻSmaɪlodon hunted large herbivores such as bison and camels, and it remained successful even when encountering new prey species in South America. ʻSmaɪlodon is thought to have killed its prey by holding it still with its forelimbs and biting it, but it is unclear in what manner the bite itself was delivered. Scientists debate whether ʻSmaɪlodon had a social or a solitary lifestyle. Analysis of modern predator behavior as well as of ʻSmaɪlodon's fossil remains could be construed to lend support to either view. ʻSmaɪlodon probably lived in closed habitats such as forests and bush, which would have provided cover for ambushing prey. ʻSmaɪlodon died out at the same time that most North and South American megafauna disappeared, about 10,000 years ago. Its reliance on large animals has been proposed as the cause of its extinction, along with climate change and competition with other species, but the exact cause is unknown. Taxonomy. During the 1830s, Danish naturalist Peter Wilhelm Lund and his assistants collected fossils in the calcareous caves near the small town of Lagoa Santa, Minas Gerais, Brazil. Among the thousands of fossils found, he recognized a few isolated cheek teeth as belonging to a hyena, which he named Hyena neoguea in 1839. After more material was found, Lund concluded the fossils instead belonged to a distinct genus of felid, though transitional to the hyenas. He stated it would have matched the largest modern predators in size, and was more robust than any modern cat. Lund originally wanted to name the new genus ʻSmaɪlədʒn, but realizing this had recently become preoccupied by another prehistoric predator, he instead named it ʻSmaɪlodon populata in 1842. He explained the ancient Greek meaning of ʻSmaɪlodon as sigma mu iota lambda eta, a scalpel, a two-edged knife, and delta o upsilon sigma, tooth. This has also been translated as tooth-shaped like double-edged knife. He explained the species name populata as the destroyer, which has also been translated as he who brings devastation. By 1846, Lund had acquired nearly every part of the skeleton, and more specimens were found in neighboring countries by other collectors in the following years, though some later authors used Lund's original species name name Neoguia instead of populator. It is now considered an invalid nomen nudum, as it was not accompanied with a proper description and no type specimens were designated. Some South American specimens have been referred to other genera, subgenera, species, and subspecies, such as ʻSmaɪlədʒn riggi, ʻSmaɪlodon sonodensis, and S. bonariensis, but these are now thought to be junior synonyms of S. populator. Fossils of ʻSmaɪlodon were discovered in North America from the second half of the 19th century onwards. In 1869, American paleontologist Joseph Leidy described a maxilla fragment with a molar, which had been discovered in a petroleum bed in Hardin County, Texas. He referred the specimen to the genus Felis, but found it distinct enough to be part of its own subgenus, as F. fatalis. The species name means fate or destiny, but it is thought Leidy intended it to mean fatal. In an 1880 article about extinct American cats, American paleontologist Edward Drinker Cope pointed out that the F. fatalis molar was identical to that of ʻSmaɪlodon, and he proposed the new combination S. fatalis. Most North American finds were scanty until excavations began in the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, where hundreds of individuals of S. fatalis have been found since 1875. S. fatalis has junior synonyms such as S. mercerii, S. floridinus, and S. californicus. American paleontologist Annalisa Berta considered the holotype of S. fatalis too incomplete to be an adequate type specimen, and the species has at times been proposed to be a junior synonym of S. populator. Swedish paleontologists Björn Kurtén and Lars Werdelin supported the distinctness of the two species in 1990. In his 1880 article about extinct cats, Cope also named a third species of ʻSmaɪlodon, S. gracilis. The species was based on a partial canine, which had been obtained in a cave near the Schuylkill River in Pennsylvania. Cope found the canine to be distinct from that of the other ʻSmaɪlodon species due to its smaller size and more compressed base. Its specific name refers to the species' lighter bill. This species is known from fewer and less complete remains than the other members of the genus. S. gracilis has at times been considered part of genera such as Megantrion and Ascyrosmilis. S. populator, S. fatalis and S. gracilis are currently considered the only valid species of ʻSmaɪlodon, and features used to define most of the junior synonyms have been dismissed as variation between individuals of the same species. One of the most famous of prehistoric mammals, ʻSmaɪlodon has often been featured in popular media and is the state fossil of California. Evolution. Long the most completely known saber-toothed cat, ʻSmaɪlodon is still one of the best-known members of the group, to the point where the two concepts have been confused. The term saber-tooth refers to an ecomorph consisting of various groups of extinct predatory synapsids, which convergently evolved extremely long maxillary canines, as well as adaptations to the skull and skeleton related to the use. This includes members of Gorgonopsia, Thylacośmilodon, Machairodont, Nimravodidae, Felid.It, and machairodont. Within the family Felidae, members of the subfamily Machairodont are referred to as saber-toothed cats, and this group is itself divided into three tribes: Metailurini, Homotherinae, and ʻSmaɪlodon, to which ʻSmaɪlodon belongs. Members of ʻSmaɪlodon are defined by the long slender canines with fine to no serrations, whereas Homotherinae are typified by shorter, broad, and more flattened canines, with coarser serrations. Members of machairodont were less specialized and had shorter, less flattened canines, and are not recognized as members of machairodont by some researchers. The earliest felids are known from the Oligocene of Europe, such as Proilurus, and the earliest one with saber-toothed features is the Miocene genus Pseudolurus. The skull and mandible morphology of the earliest saber-toothed cats was similar to that of the modern clouded leopards. The lineage further adapted to the precision killing of large animals by developing elongated canine teeth and wider gapes, in the process sacrificing high bite force. As the canines became longer, the bodies of the cats became more robust for immobilizing prey. In derived ʻSmaɪlədʒns and homotherms, the lumbar region of the spine and the tail became shortened, as did the hind limbs. The earliest species of ʻSmaɪlodon is S. gracilis, which existed from 2.5 million to 500,000 years ago and was the successor in North America of Megantereon, from which it probably evolved. Megantereon itself had entered North America from Eurasia during the Pliocene, along with Homotherium. S. gracilis reached the northern regions of South America in the early Pleistocene as part of the Great American Interchange. The younger ʻSmaɪlodon species are probably derived from S. gracilis. S. fatalis existed 1.6 million–10,000 years ago, and replaced S. gracilis in North America. S. populator existed 1 million–10,000 years ago. It occurred in the eastern parts of South America. Despite the colloquial name saber-toothed tiger, ʻSmaɪlodon is not closely related to the modern tiger, or any other extant felid. A 1992 ancient DNA analysis suggested that ʻSmaɪlodon should be grouped with modern cats. However, a 2005 study found that ʻSmaɪlodon belonged to a separate lineage. A study published in 2006 confirmed this, showing that the machairodont diverged early from the ancestors of modern cats and were not closely related to any living species. The following cladogram based on fossils and DNA analysis shows the placement of ʻSmaɪlodon among extinct and extant felids. After Rinken and colleagues, 2011. Description: ʻSmaɪlodon was around the size of modern big cats, but was more robustly built. It had a reduced lumbar region, high scapula, short tail, and broad limbs with relatively short feet. ʻSmaɪlodon is most famous for its relatively long canine teeth, which are the longest found in the saber-toothed cats, at about 28 centimeters long in the largest species, S. populator. The canines were slender and had fine serrations on the front and back side. The skull was robustly proportioned and the muzzle was short and broad. The cheekbones were deep and widely arched. The sagittal crest was prominent, and the frontal region was slightly convex. The mandible had a flange on each side of the front. The upper incisors were large, sharp, and slanted forwards. There was a diastema between the incisors and molars of the mandible. The lower incisors were broad, a recurve, and placed in a straight line across. The P3 premolar tooth of the mandible was present in most early specimens, but lost in later specimens. It was only present in 6% of the Lebreo sample. There is some dispute over whether ʻSmaɪlodon was sexually dimorphic. Some studies of S. fatalis fossils have found little difference between the sexes. Conversely, a 2012 study found that, while fossils of S. fatalis show less variation in size among individuals than modern Panthera, they do appear to show the same difference between the sexes in some traits. S. gracilis was the smallest species, estimated at 55 to 100 kilograms in weight, about the size of a jaguar. It was similar to its predecessor Megantereon of the same size, but its dentition and skull were more advanced, approaching S. fatalis. S. fatalis was intermediate in size between S. gracilis and S. populator. It ranged from 160 to 280 kilograms, and reached a shoulder height of 100 centimeters and body length of 175 centimeters. It was similar to a lion in dimensions, but was more robust and muscular, and therefore had a larger body mass. Its skull was also similar to that of Megantherion, though more massive and with larger canines. S. populator was perhaps the largest known felid, with a body mass range of 220 to 400 kilograms, and one estimate suggesting up to 470 kilograms. It stood at a shoulder height of 120 centimeters. Compared to S. fatalis, S. populator was more robust and had a more elongated and narrow skull with a straighter upper profile, higher positioned nasal bones, a more vertical occiput, more massive metapodials and slightly longer forelimbs relative to hindlimbs. Large tracks from Argentina have been attributed to S. populator, and measure 17.6 centimeters cm by 19.2 centimeters cm. This is larger than tracks of the Bengal tiger, to which the footprints have been compared. Traditionally, saber-toothed cats have been artistically restored with external features similar to those of extant felids, by artists such as Charles R. Knight in collaboration with various paleontologists in the early 20th century. In 1969, paleontologist G. J. Miller instead proposed that ʻSmaɪlədʒn would have looked very different from a typical cat and similar to a bulldog, with a lower lip line, a more retracted nose and lower placed ears. Paleoartist Mauricio Anton and co-authors disputed this in 1998 and maintained that the facial features of ʻSmaɪlədʒn were overall not very different from those of other cats. Anton noted that modern animals like the hippopotamus are able to achieve a wide gap without tearing tissue by the moderate folding of the orbicularis muscle, and such a muscle configuration exists in modern large felids. Anton stated that extant phylogenetic bracketing is the most reliable way of restoring the life appearance of prehistoric animals, and the cat-like ʻSmaɪlədʒn restorations by Knight are therefore still accurate. ʻSmaɪlədʒn and other saber-toothed cats have been reconstructed with both plain-colored coats and with spotted patterns, both of which are considered possible. Studies of modern cat species have found that species that live in the open tend to have uniform coats, while those that live in more vegetated habitats have more markings. However, exceptions to both cases exist. Some coat features, such as the manes of male lions of the stripes of the tiger, are too unusual to predict from fossils.